special guest judge.
Nepo baby.
Well done, Mama.
Howdy gamers and gamettes, I hope you've been well. It's your bestie Miss Trish, and today we are here to review episode 4 of All Stars 8 of the RuPaul's Drag Race. And what are you immediately noticing about me right now? It's how juicy my lips are. I am currently wearing Lip Plump for the first time, and it burns like hell, which I feel like is bringing me closer to biblical womanhood. But like, they're kind of eating, right? Compared to what I usually have, they're plump. I wonder where else I could stick this and plump it up, you know? I'll explore that off camera though, and I'll get back to you. Also, this shirt, it's not serving as much as I want it to. I'll be honest, I was just wearing this normally today, and I was like, it's also my sleigh outfit when I have giant boobs. The buttons, like this one's too low for YouTube. That's my OnlyFans button. And this one's like so high, I'm like a nun. But it is what it is, you know? I don't need cleave to serve, but it certainly helps. Beyond that, the only thing I want to say was thank you so much for enjoying my previous video where I did like weird AI outfit concepts. That was so much fun to make, and it's easier than this to make. So I'll probably do it again. I mean, I'm definitely going to do it again. Probably work backwards through the seasons and then do All Stars 8 when it's over. But yeah, for now, I just wanted to get back to the review, and let's just get started. Okay, so the first thing we see are the girlies like trying to explain their votes. And I was kind of surprised to hear Jessica be like, oh yeah, Kasha told me she wanted to go home. And then like it cuts to the footage, and I think I interpreted it as like Kasha was trying to read like, oh, I have like a loving husband, a dog, like a great career, and Darian has nothing, like something like that. But I think Jessica just heard like, oh yeah, send me home. So that kind of made me laugh because I wonder if like, I feel like Kasha's message, like both the monologuing and how she kind of like fought to be there, were super misconstrued, and she just kind of got sent home when she didn't need to. It's still her own fault, but like, I don't know. That's like my delusional take on it, and I think that's more fun, that Miss Kasha just sent herself home on accident. I like that lore, so I'm sticking with it. And I was dying at the moment. You know, like usually when the girlies are talking about like voting, everyone's like, so who voted, like, you know, for the girl that's still here? This is really embarrassing. But then when like Candy was like, okay, so who voted for Darian? It was immediately like, oh yeah, me. I voted for Darian. And like James is like, yeah, I voted for you like 2 times. Why are you still here? Like, they are so unbothered and unafraid of her. And I feel like Darian couldn't even clap back. She's like, why'd you vote for me? I was like, well, you've been in the bottom like every episode since the season started. And she was just like, yeah, I guess so. But you know what? I'm gonna get you. But the way they're editing her doesn't seem like she's gonna get him. I don't know. She's getting the haunted clown music, so that's never good. But yeah, it just made me laugh how everyone was like, easy choice, not afraid of you. I love it. I love it. Hopefully we get to see Darian do like a lip sync. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen this episode, but the vibes 3 minutes in are already rancid for Darian. And I haven't liked that heavy-handed editing this season. And I'll have to go back and watch earlier seasons. Like maybe I'm just so like, my brain is so rotten from doing nothing but consuming reality TV that like I'm picking up on all these like subtle things. That gives me like too much credit. But you know what I mean. Like maybe the editing hasn't changed. I'm just a broken human who obsesses too much over a show. But yeah, it feels like Darian's already going home. And what else? Oh my God, I loved the moment when Jessica just walked in. She's like, so, who's mad that I won? Oh, how is she both our unproblematic queen from season 2, probably the most battle-hardened season, and yet also this terrifying and slay? That's incredible. I like how everyone did say like, oh, I'm not mad you won, but I am pissed that you won. I was like, okay, I guess that's fine. That makes perfect sense. And You know things are bad when Alexis is like mocking you. She was like sitting on the couch being like, ooh, these girls are being dramatic, being sourpuss. Like, if Alexis Michelle is telling you you're being like the drama at an inopportune moment, you take 80 steps back, you take a deep breath, and you count to 20 because you are doing something sick and twisted. Um, Heidi's really in her feels, it seems like. I mean, it was I don't know, all the girls who thought James, Heidi, thought they won, but then Jessica devoured them. Were in their feelings, but they're really focusing on Heidi, like in the edit. So I do sense something dark for her too. Um, I don't know. I'm scared, and I feel a little tainted by Twitter because I follow her on Twitter, and she's not happy there either, which is her right. She doesn't have to have enjoyed her time, but it is kind of. I mean, I guess I can't complain about spoilers since I'm looking at Twitter, but I'm just kind of like, I get the feeling something bad happens to you, Heidi. I don't know what it is, but she's unhappy and still unhappy. So she's not giving me winter energy, I'll be honest. And oh my god, I don't really have anything else to say for like the recap, except I, I did die when Jessica, still dressed looking like a sexy version of my aunt. I shouldn't say that. My aunt's very sexy. Still just looking like my aunt. Cut that out. Don't leave that in. Yeah, she's like prowling around. She's like, I'm an animal ready to attack. And she just looks like my aunt getting up from bottomless brunch. Like, this show is incredible. What are we doing here? I love it here. But yeah, that's like the only thing. It was a pretty short recap because usually I think most of the time is spent with the queens defending their votes, but voting for Darian's just like so super okay that we got over it quick. Okay, so moving on into the workroom, we are immediately hit with a beautiful Heidi confessional where she's talking about how she's going to hit these girls in the hymen, some sort of sports reference. And I didn't really clock that as wrong because, like, sports players love beating their wives, so why wouldn't there be, like, a move like the hymen destroyer or something? That made intuitive sense to me. But apparently it's called the Heisman. I don't know what he's doing, but it sounds wicked. But that made me laugh. Heidi is the queen of the confessionals. But the juxtaposition of her like sitting on the couch like sourpuss mode and then the confessionals, which were clearly shot at like a different time where she's like, wee, I'm having a great time. I'm like, what happened to you? Are you okay? Blink 3 times if you need to leave. I also enjoyed when Jimbo threw lettuce at Kahana and she just freaked out. I too freak out around lettuce. I think it's disgusting. I think people who eat salads are sick and twisted. I don't know if Kahana feels that way about salad, but I want to relate to her because she's so beautiful. Um, I don't know. The taste of salad is fine, but I think the texture is sick and twisted, and it takes me so long to eat. I just feel like a dumb dinosaur while I'm sitting there eating salad. Like, what are we doing here? I get really self-conscious when people watch me eat salad, which happens more often than you think. I always aspire to be that woman in the commercial who's like smiling, eating it, you know, like the yogurt lady. But I've never been able to reach that energy. But that was a really long tangent for an inconsequential moment. But yeah, I'll move on. Rue explains that the challenge this week is to create a trailer for a scripted series, basically a commercial, and the girls get to choose like whatever genre they want. So like a sitcom, a horror series, whatever. That's always a fun challenge, and I think we haven't seen like a lot of humor-based challenges this season. I don't even know if that's true. I'm just saying things. I just want to see the funny girls be funny. We've got the Heidis, we've got the Jimbos, we've got the Darians. Like, I don't know. I want more for them. And I laughed when we was explaining this and going over the genres. Like, it kept cutting to a girl like it'd be horror, and then it'd like zoom in on one girl, and then it said like sci-fi, and it zoomed in on Candy, and I was like, were those all reads? You know, like Candy Muse's alien look, sci-fi. There's something there. I hope her look is finally getting the recognition it deserves, meaning she should have gone home that episode, but I love her, so I'm glad she didn't. And then let's talk about this mini challenge. And let's also keep this mini challenge in mind when later in the episode, Michelle is saying stuff like, I don't know if we can show douching on camera. Okay, Michelle, well, we just showed a full frontal scene with anal penetration. So I don't know what we're doing here. But yeah, the challenge, the mini challenge, is like how the girls get divided up into teams. You basically just pick up a balloon. You tell Rue whether you would like to give or receive with that balloon, and the pit crew will take care of the rest. It was very, very erotic for me. And yeah, when the pit crew's receiving your balloon gift or giving it to you, whatever color glitter is inside the balloon when it pops, that's the team you're on. And I had a few observations about this, but I quietly watched respectfully the first time, so I had to watch it quite a few times to understand the rules. First observation, am I even the same species as Bruno? Why don't I get to be a large muscle man? That seems unfair. That seems gross. I'm going to have to go talk to God, which is my right now as a biblical woman, and I'm going to get that sorted out as soon as possible. Secondly, and I'm being so super serious, I don't think I would be able to handle the eroticism of this challenge. And I think I would simply have to walk up, grab the balloon, I would pop it in my hands, and I would go sit down quietly. I don't know. Would that be allowed? Do you think Rue would yell at me, or would he find that funny? Third observation. I just held up 7 fingers. Um, is Bruno in love with Lala Ree? That thrust was real, right? Like, that was the thrust heard round the world. That just felt like a porn scene. And that's fine, that's their right. But we have to sort other people into teams, so let's wrap it up. But I feel like they told Bruno after that, I was like, okay, let's tone it back a bit. Let's not do that. And what else? Kahana, you know what? She's surprisingly funny. And that could just be because I remember nothing about her from her original season, but maybe she got a new personality too, along with like an entirely new body. Uh, she just had a little mushroom trip, lobotomy, whatever, rearranged whatever's going up on there, got a new personality. I'm really enjoying her, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry I had to say it in such a mean way, but I did. I like when she like crawled up on the chair. I was like, I've never done this. And then Bryce, ally of the century, puts his leg up and he's like, oh, okay, well, I have blasted her into next week. That's incredible. Good for him. You know what? When I learned he was like also a rocket scientist, that kind of ruined my life because I don't like when hot people can also do things. So it's been harder for me to like Bryce recently. And you know what? I've noticed that, well, it's probably not for my same deranged reason, but like it's got to be tough to be the other guy up there next to Bruno because I feel like all the queens were going up there like, oh, Bruno, I want Bruno to fuck me. No other choice, no other options up here. And I feel like the ones Bryce got were like pity, like, okay, fine. Like maybe Rue told them like you have to pick Bryce too, you have to include him. Did you bring enough for the class? That kind of thing. Uh, Heidi's confessionals. I don't know. I feel like she's giving death flags. I'm worried for her. I'm worried for Darian. But this would be such a sad episode to see them go home in. And then Jimbo. Jimbo scares me. I enjoy Jimbo's humor, but when he's gobbling that glitter off of the ground, um, after his little experience, I'm like, your poop's gonna sparkle for weeks, bestie. I guess there's a chance that he didn't swallow it, but it's Jimbo, and I think he swallowed it. So, yeah. After all that, which, wow, the teams end up being Jimbo, Candy, Jessica, Alexis, Darian, James, and Heidi, Kahana, Lala, Ree. Woof. I am the most worried for Alexis, Darian, James by far. Alexis and James are like kind of camp, but they're not necessarily like comedy sketch funny in my mind. And I feel like Darian is, but we just haven't seen that side of her at all. Sure, her energy just feels really different this season, and I'm just like not confident that she can like single-handedly carry a group. So I was immediately worried about that group. And for the others, like I think everyone on those teams, like they're at least like mildly funny. But like each team has a heavy hitter in my mind. Like Jimbo could probably carry a team, Heidi could probably carry a team. So I'm less worried about them. Oh, and one final thing. I loved the moment where Rue was saying, and you'll have the help of Emmy Award winner. And everyone was like, and then Rue's like, Michelle Visage. And everyone's face, like, it drops. They're just like, oh. Blah. So, that did kind of feel like a bait and switch. So you get what you get. And I don't know why they expected different. So the girls break out into their groups and start discussing what kind of show they want to make. And we start with Darian's group. So that's Darian, Alexis, and James. And no one really has any ideas, but then Darian's like, what if we did Lost? And I was like, oh, good. Pick one of the most, like, not only is it really not funny, but it's super confusing, and I don't know how you would convey that concept at all. But not only do we like start with Lost as like the baseline, he's like, what if we also threw on this concept of like dead celebrities and like conspiracy theories? And I'm like, that's ambitious. That's so ambitious. And I agreed with Alexis Michelle when she was like, I don't really like this idea. I think it's too complex. And especially for something like being produced on Drag Race on a really quick timeline. Uh, and she got shut down. I agreed with her. But Darian pushed through. And I just, I was already feeling like uneasy about this group. I was like, wow, that's tough. But Darian's pretty funny. This could be her challenge. But then it cuts to Heidi's team. And Heidi's like, oh, the key to winning a challenge, you need a concept that's clear and not convoluted. And I was like, okay, I guess. I guess the concept that we just heard, which was neither clear nor not convoluted, is probably going to flop. Um, that just felt so on the nose. If you watch it back, it's literally like right after they explain. Heidi's like, "Oh, how do you win a challenge? How do you be funny?" Um, but you know what? Heidi's other advice for the comedy challenge was literally like that first thing, and then she was like, "You should also be funny." So maybe I was taking it like too literally, and it's not that serious. But in that moment when I was watching it live, I was like, okay, I guess Darian's group loses. Um, and yeah, Heidi's group decides kind of on like, I guess a comedy where it's like this Kahana's playing like this sexy something or other, and like Heidi and Lala Ree are two like dumb people who torment her. I don't know what genre that is. It was kind of like Looney Tunes esque in a way. I liked it. I liked it, and it was kind of like not convoluted. It was very simple. You can play like a lot of physical humor, and I think at least Heidi in that moment, I was like, she can definitely pull off that kind of acting. I didn't really know about Lalari in that way, but like maybe she can too. And Kahana just gets to be there and be pretty, which is great for her. That seems like a very safe role for her. And in that moment, I was like, okay, she'll probably be fine. You can't mess that up. So then we go to Jessica, Jimbo, and Candy. I really didn't think this group would have any issues, but they actually had like a lot of infighting, which was probably just edited that way just to make sure that they also had a storyline. But basically, the issue was Jimbo kind of wanted, well, the genre they wanted was like high school comedy slash horror, so like a spoof of Carrie kind of thing. And Jimbo was saying like spoofs are fine. Mama Rue just wants to laugh. She doesn't care about originality that much in like a challenge like this. And Candy was saying like originality is important. She would like dock them points for doing a spoof. They kind of went back and forth, and Candy was doing that thing that I hate in groups where like they just say no to things but then don't offer an alternative. They're like, no, we shouldn't do that. No, no, no. I don't know if that's how it actually happened, but that's like how it was edited, and it was edited in such a heavy-handed way where like they showed us Candy saying no like 60 times in a montage. So that was the drama they wanted to build up, and I'm falling for it. So yeah, there was some tension there. They looked very unhappy, except for Jessica Wilde, who has never looked unhappy in her life. She's beautiful and she's unproblematic and has never done anything wrong and never will do anything wrong. So yeah, that's kind of their storyline. I'm still not worried about them. I'm sure they'll pull it out. But Yeah, those are the three groups. Moving on to the actual recording of the challenge. My first thought was very unrelated, but what happened to Jimbo's ears? Like where I guess Jimbo has like earrings and like right there, it was just like infected. I mean, like I know what an ear infection is, but the reason I'm so caught up on this is because so many of the other girls have also had ear infections. I think in this same episode, Jessica had one too, and I'm like, is there something in the water? Are these girls stressed to the point where their immune systems are shutting down and they can't even wear earrings? What's going on? In reality, it's probably they're just putting in and taking out so many earrings that they probably don't have time to wash that everyone's ears get gross on Drag Race. But like Jimbo's ears were grotesque. And I mean that in the nicest way that you can call someone grotesque. Uh, anyway, on to the actual challenge, the comedic high school horror with Jimbo, Candy, and Jessica. Michelle was a prude in this. It was super weird. They kept trying to make like vulgar jokes. I think there was like a douching joke with Jessica like prepping for Bruno in the bathtub and she wants like a water bottle to run clear or something. And Michelle was like, absolutely not, babe. We can't have that on TV. And I was like, roll the footage back 20 minutes ago. Bruno gave Lala Rhea a child. Lala Rhea is with child. And we watched. But we can't douche? Interesting. And yeah, honestly, Michelle kind of shut down every good idea this group had. I was kind of thinking in the moment this is probably for attention and it's going to be like super duper raunchy still. It wasn't really. Spoiler. But like, I don't know. That was really weird. And I'm curious, like, I wonder if they were facing like extra pressure this season not to be raunchy, or like, I guess when these things are filmed, like, you never know what network you're gonna show up on. So like, I guess they could have easily like cut out like the sorting at the beginning. I almost called it the sorting hat. But yeah, but I guess you can't cut out like a main challenge if it gets too raunchy. So maybe they were trying to cut back there. It was just very weird, and I'm only talking about it so much because like she was really being like a little puritanical. However, this did lead, you know, God takes and God gives. I almost said God takes and God takes. Um, we got the soundbite of Michelle saying, "Not in her vagina, Jimbo,"
Not her vagina, Jimbo.
which just, wow, it's so enchanting. I just love TV and I love being alive. And the juxtaposition of Jimbo continues to crack me up, where he'll be giving you an ASMR voiceover of like, I wanted to play the character of Muffy because I think she brings a really enchanting aura to this TV show and I like to show off my acting skills. And like, then what's on stage is him laughing like a maniac over a pile of corpses, like covered in salami and crying. And I'm just like, okay, you scare me, Jimbo. I wouldn't feel safe around you. And I think that's why I like you. Okay, so moving on to Heidi, Kahana, Lala Ree. They should probably win just for the way Heidi dressed. Her mind. I don't know how you even think of something like that, but I just laughed out loud when she walked on the stage. It was so stupid. The voices were also incredible. I loved Lala Ree's voice a little more. It was just Fat Albert, but like that's funny. Heidi's was also good. Kahana, again, her job was just to be beautiful, and she did that. I will say the dumb humor didn't really like mesh with me. It wasn't dumb in the way I expected. It was like a little less like Home Alone, like burglars, or like Patrick Star SpongeBob, and it was more like this person eats rocks and they need help. I don't know. That just like wasn't funny to me. Not in the way where I'm like, oh my god, they need to be canceled. I was just like, I don't know. It's not for me. It didn't really do anything for me. But like a lot of people did find it funny, so I don't think they were bad at all. I just thought like it was either one of those things that like you like it or you don't. And for me, it was just kind of like very mid. But yeah, finally, James, Darian, Alexis. Michelle did not look thrilled when they were explaining the concept, but she did understand it. So I had some hope in that moment. But then, like, as soon as they started filming, I was like, they're doomed because, like, we saw so many scenes and we weren't even at the island. It was like they have to film the just like the concept was like they crash on an island, there are dead celebrities there, and the dead celebrities are like chasing off the girls because they want to keep the secret that they're still alive. I can't even explain it, but like we got a scene of like filming on the boat, filming how the captain gets lured away, filming the ship crashing, filming washing up on shore. I was like, we haven't even gotten to the dead celebrity concept, and we've used up all our allotted time. So it was very clearly way, way, way too much, but like it did seem like the most interesting one. Like it's the one I would probably actually watch, but I don't think it was funny. I was just like, oh, that's kind of interesting, which isn't the challenge. So like, good idea, not the time and place, is what I would say. Moving on to the next day, we start our adventure in the workroom with a lot of the girls listening to Lala Ree's butt to see if she has a heartbeat within her hole. Jury's still out on that. I'm waiting to hear back. And I actually screamed, like literally screamed. Extremely disproportionate response, but like when Kahana was saying like, okay, ladies, let's use Canva to work on our posters, I was just like, that was so scary to me for no reason. Whenever brands just like appear, I don't know why, but I freak out, like a jump scare in a horror movie. I'm like, oh my God, I use Canva. And yeah, it's actually an amazing tool, but I could not stop laughing when they were trying to be like, yeah, Canva's awesome. But then the picture they had like on the screen was a background, like a pre-cut photo of the three girls, and then basics text that said, run queen run, with a typo in the second run where there was a 7 instead of like an N, or like a 7 and an N. And I was like, yeah, that's a powerful tool. That's a really powerful tool. Thank you for this amazing advertisement. It was a little horrific that like they wait to make the girls use the computers until they all have on like their 8-foot long acrylic nails. They're like, okay, do some design work now, babes. And like Kahana's typing from up here with her nails. That was like a little iconic. I don't know if that was like supposed to be as gaggy as it was, but I was living during like the brand advertisement. I was like, wow. That was the most exciting part of the episode for me. You got to make your own fun sometimes, and I do. And it's so clear that Alexis Michelle hates her group. Darian and James are just like, oh my God, we did great, didn't we? And Alexis is just like, yeah, I had fun. So she has no faith, and she shouldn't. So she's smart for that. And what else? Oh, the girls, you know I hate when they talk about voting, but all the girls are like, track record only. I only vote fair. And then they whisper like, tee, if anyone in my group was ever in the bottom, I would save them. I hope you do that for me. And I'm like, okay, great. I love hearing this every single episode. It makes it funny. And then I feel bad for Heidi because like she has that mirror moment where she's like, yeah, I just came to this All Stars to have fun no matter what, like fun every episode. And I guess she is kind of having fun, but then she also has some of the darkest lows every episode, and then immediately after expressing how she wants to have fun, Candy's like, oh, but remember all the times you didn't have fun? And then Heidi fights Candy. So, you know, maybe she's not having fun is what I'm getting from this. And what else? Heidi, you know, speaking of that fight, Heidi goes on like literally like a 2-minute rant about like what kind of tea she has that could burn this competition down. What do we think that is? Like, was she speaking specifically about like tea on Candy? Because that's kind of who she was like yelling at. Not yelling, I'm making it sound more dramatic. Like, they're friends, aren't they? But like, it sounded intense, and I don't know if she's just doing that for the cameras. Like, oh my God, you have to keep me because I have tea. Or if like, what are the girlies backstage saying about each other? It sounds awful. If I were a better reporter, I'd be looking at like, who's Heidi following and who she isn't, but I don't care. I just want to watch my little TV people and figure it out as it comes out. So yeah, some very interesting dynamics this season. I'm not sure if I'm invested in like any of the relationships yet. Like, I don't think any of the queens have super good rapport. Even like the Jimbo, Heidi, Candy Trinity, where they're like, oh my god, we're all friends. I was like, you guys are kind of boring together. Heidi has better chemistry with Lala Ree, if I'm being so super honest. Hello. This is probably really jarring. I'm so sorry. But it's the next day for me. And I don't record the episodes like chronologically. So I was recording like at the end of my last session. I was about to do the runways, which is what I'm going to do now. But I had like made a couple of jokes. I was like, ooh, it feels like my throat's closing up. Like, ooh, I'm so tight. It actually was. Like, I had to go to urgent care and get like a steroid shot because my throat was fusing shut for some reason. And I think that reason might literally be because I was having such a strong reaction to that lip plump and I kept licking it and swallowing it. And it made my entire like throat, my thrussy, swell. So that was like a joke. And then it became my dark reality where, yeah. Anyway, I wanted to finish this video, so now I'm here to talk about the runways. Starting with James, his look was definitely interesting. Not the direction I would have anticipated at all. Um, I learned about James's heritage in that moment, and it I don't know. I guess like since the runway category was Ask the World turn, she like incorporated having a big juicy ass and then her heritage, like the world. So I guess that makes sense. She's so funny to me because I don't know, just the way she walks. It's not like Darian where it's like a little bad. She just looks like she's off in her own world or having like an anxiety attack. Like she doesn't look comfortable. She's just like moving her arms around, her eyes never make contact with the camera. She never really like struts and like serves. She just kind of like wanders down. It's very camp, so that's allowed. I'll allow it, but it's weird, right? So I don't know. That was fine for me. I didn't really feel any type of way. Although her ass looked amazing. She's got her padding down. Then Darian. Darian gobbled this up. Darian looked so good. And it was like pretty simple, which isn't bad. And I think Darian was also helped by the fact that like the audio team was blessing her because every time she did like a little drop down low or whatever, they would add in like a slide whistle or like an earthquake. The screen would shake. They wanted you to know that Darian's ass was fat, and they did that in every way possible. But I really liked this, and I liked how, you know, I feel like Darian hasn't really shown body yaddy yaddy in her previous like runways this season or anything like in her previous season. And yeah, that this was kind of just a fun moment where she was like, yeah, I'm Darian Pond now. Look at this juicy ass. I appreciate it. I think it was my favorite of the entire runway just because it was well executed and not what I expected from Darian. And then Candy, Candy, my beautiful Candy. It was horrendous, but I loved it. I saw this tweet that said like she looked like yassified blue from Blue's Clues, and I can't get that out of my head. Like I was kind of fine with the outfit when I was just like staring at her head on, but then when she turned, I was like back rolls. Her ass was up here. It was like it was insane. Who told her that was okay? She had like you could see Candy's actual butt, and then the other butt was just like up here. That was camp, but I don't think it was on purpose. My second comment about this is what anime are these queens watching? They'll always come out and be like, "Yeah, I'm doing my little anime girl fantasy." I was like, "You look like a blow up doll." And I don't know what anime apparently every queen has watched where they think that's I don't get it. I would like to know because I would like to watch because ooh sexy mama, but I don't it never reads anime to me until they say, "Oh, I'm serving anime." And I'm like, "I guess. Go ahead. Serve." Um Jessica Wilde was pretty simple. I don't have any comments on it, but Yeah, the only thing I remember was that was the first time that Maud made like a comment, and it scared the poop out of me because I forgot she was there, and then she was like, "Say yas to the ass," and I was like, "I hate you. I could jump through the screen and attack you." Not actually. You're so wonderful and beautiful, Illy. Um, Jimbo. Maybe this is controversial, but I was like, that's exactly what I expected from Jimbo. Like, I could have told you as soon as I heard the runway, and I was like, it's not my favorite. It was pretty simple. I get that it's funny having boobs where your butt is, but I need more. After 3 seasons, like, I do need more than just her having like big boobs, and she usually delivers that. So I'm not saying like she's just a big pair of breasts. No, she's so much more than that. But in this runway, I don't really think she was. I'm dying for her ASMR voiceovers where she's like, I've got tits on the front and I've got tits on the back. And then she's just on the runway like bouncing and everyone's screaming and crying and pooping. It's wonderful. Heidi wins points for not doing the most obvious thing. She was an ass like a donkey. Do you get it? I love her point of view. And it had like a lot of good details, like the little push pin, like where the tail was, like pin the tail on the donkey. I liked that. I like how it was like yesified Eeyore. That was fun. I maybe a little more padding would have helped because it wasn't like very voluptuous. It was very just like fursuit. Like I kind of want, and maybe this is just me being disgusting, but I want like Simone, like furry uri. Um, and this was just kind of like children's Halloween costume elevated a bit, but still like originality. I appreciate that, so it was definitely one of my faves, but Darian still beats her. And Kahana kind of ate this up for me. Again, Darian's still my fave, but I appreciate queens who can like make fun of themselves. And Kahana, I think, would have been really grating if she came on this season and was like, "What do you mean I haven't had any work done?" But now she's just like, "Yeah, like I'm a I'm a bimbo with silicone, like I'm ready to eat you up." And I love that for her. It was very sexy to me. Her little syringe, that's camp. I just never expected her to be like as campy as she is. And maybe like the lobotomy helped with this, but yeah, she's like really turning it out this season. Easily the person who has like improved the most or changed the most in my opinion. And then Lala Ree. Baby, what's going on? What's happening? My beautiful angel. I like go back and forth on this queen probably 80 times in one episode. When she's like giving confessionals, gobbling it up, interacting with other queens in the workroom, can't get enough. Then I see her like in a runway and I'm like, what? What happened? Yeah. Her nude illusions have never worked. And people have told her that they don't work, and she still continues to wear things where it's very clear that that is not your skin color. Um, I do appreciate that she's repping the itty bitty booty community or whatever, little booty community. But yeah, when she turned around, like I couldn't even process what I was looking at. Like it looked like necrosis. Like you were serving necrosis. Your ass looked like it was rotting, just because of like the difference in the nude illusion. Like it looked like it just didn't look good. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I think Lala Ree's problem this season is that they're not like her looks aren't like golden boot worthy, like memeable. They're just kind of like just bad, you know? And then it's like, oh, okay. You either gotta like you gotta flop harder or you really gotta like raise the bar. And I don't think we're raising the bar anytime soon. So maybe just start like ripping stuff off of your outfits and making them worse so at least we can laugh. But yeah, those are all the girlies. If you like showed me like when they were showing everyone at the end, they're like, look at our beautiful girls. I was like, I could not tell you what the runway theme was. It definitely wasn't my favorite, and I still stand by Darian, despite being very like simplistic. She's my winner for this runway. Too bad she couldn't win anything else from me this episode, but peace and blessings to you, Darian. It kind of feels like my throat is closing up, and I wonder if that's because of my little breastplate or because the lip plump, I've been licking it and now I'm swallowing it, and now my throat's getting plump, but like the opposite way. where the innards get plump and it chokes me until I die. Anyway, so starting with the challenge review, James, Darian, and Alexis go first. I did not laugh once. It was exactly what we expected, where there's so much buildup for no payoff. I didn't even know one of the celebrities at the end. I was like, I don't. There was like Marilyn. I almost said Marilyn Manson. That would be interesting. Marilyn Monroe, and then someone else who I can't even remember. None of the joke, like there were jokes, but they were very like basic. Like I feel like everyone in every Drag Race comedy, like overacting challenge, just goes full like we have a ditzy one, we have like a smart one, and like Darian was the ditzy one, and she was supposed to have like, I mean, she had jokes. They were just like very basic, meh. I would say James was probably my favorite in the group, but I just didn't like it. The editing was nice though. They did really make it come together in post. And I would watch the show, but like not as a comedy. I would watch it's a thriller. And Darian said it's supposed to be a thriller, which like why'd you make a thriller? It should be funny. Then Jimbo, Candy, Jessica. I liked it. Their concept was understandable. I think it did like suffer from being a parody, me personally, because you just like knew everything that was gonna happen, and it was sad to see so many of the jokes that like you saw them try to attempt to film like not make it to the final cut. But yeah, I mean, it seems like in the end, despite my own personal like feelings, Jimbo had the right idea where they just needed something where each queen could get like a very readable role and like succeed with their strength and just like not have to worry about making a complex script, just kind of playing into what they already know and do best. So yeah, the group was, good but basic is how I would put it. And then Heidi, Lala, Kahana. This one was out of pocket, and I could not understand it. So it gets points from me for being like an original concept. And I actually preferred Lala's character to Heidi's. Heidi's looked more whimsical to me, but I think Lala had better jokes. Like, again, like Lala was like stupid, but not like incoherent stupid. Heidi was just like a little gremlin. And I love a gremlin, but I was just like, it was hard to have the characters like bounce off of each other when like one of them can't even like communicate. And I don't know, just like Heidi's character sometimes weird vibes. I didn't really like it, I'll be honest. So we move on to the judging, and Rue announces that the girls will be judged in teams, so not individually. They either all succeed or all fail, and immediately we learn that Heidi's team Run Queen Run, is safe. I think that's what they deserve, but like I'm scared now every time Heidi gets safe. She's very bothered, it seems, and this is just another week. And then we go to the judging of Get Off Island, which was Darian's group, and everyone agrees they were very professional, but it just wasn't funny. I also agree with that, but I laughed when Maud Apatow was like, you guys had so many great moments. I loved it. Oh yeah? Name every great moment. Name one great moment. What does that mean? You're lying. Don't lie. And what else? Yeah, Michelle, I don't know. No one said anything interesting except Maud, who was so fake that it was funny. And let's get to Alexis Michelle. She serves it to you every time. Why is nobody else going bananas over this queen? She literally, like, after they were getting judged harshly, like, stood up and was like, well, actually, I never wanted to do this concept, and this was all Darian's idea, and I shouldn't get, like, in trouble for it. And, like, she just, like, that could work, but she didn't think this through at all, because one of the judges was immediately like, I think it was T.S. Madison, who, by the way, looked so slay today. She was easily the hottest judge, and she deserves it. But anyway, T.S. Madison was like, oh, okay, if you knew it was, like, a bad concept, why didn't you say anything? And Alexis was like, well, it's because I'm weak. And I was like, oh, that was actually the worst thing you could have said or done in this moment. Like, it could have been such a power play, but the way it shook out is she looks like a weak contestant to the judges. Her team hates her. And now everybody else in the competition doesn't trust her because she'll turn on you. So I kind of love this moment because it just went so catastrophically wrong for her, even though she looked so confident. But that was so stupid. You should have just lied. It would have been better for you. Also, lived for the moment when Jimbo mimes being the bus that I guess Alexis is throwing her teammates under. This little clown. You gotta love her. But this is also the second time that Alexis has done this. And I think this is the better of the two times. I just keep gobbling it up because she never comes out of it looking good, but she's like, I'll try again next time. It'll go better for me next time. And then finally, they go to the Candy team, the Jimbo team, the Jessica team. And it seems like Jimbo was right in kind of reading what Rue enjoys because Rue seemed to really appreciate like understanding the concept right away, knowing what to expect from each girl and letting each girl play to their strengths, kind of like Jimbo said. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Jimbo has a very deep understanding of Rue. It seems like a good thing that he was kind of able to take control of the group, but I don't think Candy's idea would have been bad either. But yeah, it definitely seems like, yeah, this group ends up being the winner. And again, I'm back on my mod bullshit. She said like 8 different things, but none of them were different critiques. She was like, oh girl, you're funny with no effort. You make being funny look like it takes no effort. You're funny without effort. You're effortlessly funny. Like, girl, what is going on? Snort some Ambien and get back to me. Like, give me something, anything. It's okay to be a Nepo baby. It really, truly is. Some of my best friends are Nepo babies. But it's a crime to be a Nepo baby and not be funny. You need to figure that out. You need to deal with that, and then you can come back. I don't hate you. I'm just disappointed. And it was so shady when Michelle was telling Jessica to wear more blush, and then it cuts to Candy, who's wearing probably 9 pounds of blush, just smirking like, yeah, you do need to wear more blush. Like, no, she does, but not that. That's not correct either. Jimbo's team wins with Jimbo being like the singled out winner, so he's gonna be the one lip syncing. Yay! Um, and let's see, yeah, we get to see the girls voting, and James kind of had an iconic moment here that made me fall in love with her. She's like voting for Darian for the 3rd time, and she's like, I'm so tired. Like, I'm so sick of doing this. Stay dead. Get out of my face. Get out of here. And I was like, oh my God, she scares me, and I like that. I'm clearly drawn to people who scare me. So that little squeaky voice, yet the darkness within her. I think I've really grown to enjoy James this season. I think she's the one I've like flipped my opinion on the most. I would say Kahana, but I kind of just I kind of treat her this season as like a new person. I'm not like, here's old Kahana, here's new Kahana. I'm like, it's fun to meet this new queen who has never been on the show before. And then moving on to the lip sync. The lip sync assassin is Chanel. Everyone hide your purses. That's bad. She didn't do anything wrong. Justice for Chanel. I like that they're bringing on girls from earlier seasons. And I still don't think like Jimbo has a chance. Not actually, I don't even know why I said that because Chanel's actually a really great lip syncer. So I don't think they brought her on to be like a flop or anything. She's actually incredible. So they would need to bring in like a Charlie Hides lip sync assassin moment for Jimbo to even have a chance. And even then, it would be an uphill battle, which is dark. That makes it tough to see a path to victory for Jimbo winning this season. But I'm just gonna not think about that until it's time. Anyway, the girls lip sync to Bad Reputation, and Chanel's kind of tearing it out. And I mean, just watch Jimbo. Just watch Jimbo the entire time. I don't think she does more than one move. She just bops, which is like relatable, but that's not gonna get you the win, babe. So that's her 5th every lip sync she's ever done, she's lost. Spoiler alert, I'm sure you knew. I think that's 5 lip syncs, 5 losses. Um, she needs to take a class or something. I'm interested to see how the finale could shake out, because she's gonna make it to the finale, right? I'm not saying she's gonna win, but like top 4 at least. And I don't want another like Monet versus Jinx moment. That was yucky, and I didn't like it. And I laughed at how short the lip sync was, because they probably only had like 30 seconds of usable footage where Jimbo didn't look like a fool. And yeah, obviously Chanel ends up winning, and the girls vote to send Darian home. I kind of rushed through that because like very anticlimactic. Like I feel like from beat 2 of the episode, I was like, okay, Darian's going home, and then as soon as we heard that Jimbo won, I was like, and the lip sync assassin wins the lip sync. So that wraps up this episode. This season, it feels like a bit of a slow start. Is anyone else feeling that? I'm not as invested. I mean, make no mistake, this show rules my life, and I'm more invested than I should be. But like, I'm still like not as invested. I think the queens on their own are all amazing, but I'm just not getting like any chemistry or like standout moments that I feel like other seasons have had. Maybe Heidi's tea can change that. I don't know if she's actually gonna spill that. I actually haven't watched Untucked, so maybe she already has. But her storyline is like the one I'm the most interested in, and I think depending on how that shakes out, it could change up the competition. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'll probably have up another like AI design challenge thing sometime this weekend. And then, yeah, I'll review the new episode as soon as I can. Bye. Thanks for watching.